Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hope Without Sight with your host, Sailor Cooper, and
This is Tyler Evans.
oh, yes. Today is our last day in PBR in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta. We've been doing lots of recordings, which has been great and wonderful. I've had a good time. I even caught a fish yesterday on a boat trip, and today I'm gonna just do a few more recordings, and I'll be getting a massage today at 1 o'clock, which is nice. But yeah, this is episode 17 featuring Chris Mitchell. Now, Chris, I know you have quite an exhilarating story. I read your bio, and you said you're a Christian entrepreneur. I'm sure the good Lord has guided you to get to where you are today after having challenges in life. So I'm going to let you share all that on the podcast today. So yeah, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me today and the opportunity to speak to your amazing audience, because I'm sure they're amazing people if they're listening to this podcast, because only amazing people will listen to your podcast. I'm sure of that.
You bet,
My name is Chris Mitchell. I'm also kind of known as the "it doesn't define me" guy, because I've had a lot of things try to stop me from what I want to do in my life, and I've said no to them. I said I'm not going to let anything stop me from achieving what I want to achieve in life. I was born with some birth defects. My mom was exposed to the German measles when she was carrying me, and that resulted in the rubella syndrome, which is practically unheard of today. But it wasn't when I was born, so I'm almost as old as a dinosaur. That's what I like to tell people. So I was born with cataracts, which left my vision 2200 in my left eye, 2300 in my right eye. I don't have any depth perception. I cannot read under my right eye at all, but I'm not letting that stop me from anything.
That's right. You can attest to that, Tyler, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Yes,
a good
indeed.
attitude there.
And I also was born with a constricted aorta, which means it's a little narrowing of one of the aortas that pumps blood through my body. And I never let that stop me from, in the heart. Yeah, near the heart. Yeah. So I never let that stop me from doing whatever I wanted to do in my life either. And I had a severe speech impediment that was so bad I had to start speech therapy before I started preschool. And I didn't let that stop me. I had ADHD. It was diagnosed in school, and I got expelled from 2 schools and 2 colleges in my life. But that has not stopped me from anything I wanted to do.
Even 2 colleges? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Your ADHD must have been so severe. Like, were you like acting out, hyper? Like, what was it?
Well, it was acting out a little bit in K through 12, but in college it was more being belligerent and stubborn and believing that the rules apply to everybody but me. Which is a great way to if you go much further than what I did, which I did challenges, instructors in the college. You do that in the real world, you could be spending sometimes in a little 6x8 room with bars on it with a roommate you may and may not want to know. So luckily I just stopped at being a jerk in college.
And so you graduated college eventually, right?
No, I did not. My college, I spent more years in college than I did through K through 12.
It's harder.
But it was harder, and with the ADHD, I was doing okay, but it was really not my thing. And after I got expelled for the second time, I said I'm done.
I hear you. It's not for everybody, because you see, I have some degree of ADHD myself. I mean, I would say it's probably not as severe as what you've had, but like, it's the typical stuff. Like, I'll have trouble concentrating and just focusing on different tasks at hand. And, especially college it's a different ball game than high school. And I just found the courses too much, just to sum up,
Yeah. And part of it was, it's hard for me to take a course I have no interest in. I don't care about,
absolutely.
well, science, like I don't care about biology. I mean, when am I going to use that in my life? At
Right.
that time,
Math,
my career goal was
my
radio broadcasting or computer science.
woo, radio. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I worked in
And,
radio.
Mhm.
and in fact, I want to use this time now, Chris. After I publish the episode, I'm going to send you some additional stuff.
Okay.
Tyler,
I like stuff.
attest to this, please. Pagapalooza is get out an epic event, isn't it?
Oh yes.
You need to
There's
come
a
to Pagapalooza. In January, it's a big event where hundreds of podcasters get on Zoom and they interview each other. It is epic, and you can even be a speaker.
Ooh, I like speaking.
Yeah, yeah, and so
One of my
And,
favorite things.
yeah,
and also, we've been talking to someone working with us. Her name's Michelle, and we're gonna hopefully start creating a Patreon account, and maybe people in the future can contribute, to our
Support the podcast.
yeah,
contribute monetarily to be on the podcast. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Yes,
Like,
it does.
they can contribute like $10 or whatever they can give.
It's a way to-
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course we have an internet radio station that's on the air 24/7.
Mhm.
Yeah, it plays all sorts of music, pop and country. It's great. And so yeah, I know Tyler, you and I we're gonna meet with Michelle again this afternoon, right? And then we're gonna
Mhm.
meet with Scott Irwin tomorrow, right?
Yeah, he and another guy named Kevin, they were the ones who actually helped start up the business with funds. So yeah,
Yeah.
so just be in prayer for that, folks. If you're listening, just pray for success.
That's exactly.
And yeah. So I just had a quick question for you, Chris.
So
Sure.
let's go deeper into your story. So yeah, you Tyler, you can ask that question before we go
Yeah,
deeper, I guess, right? Yeah.
So did you ever feel that you couldn't go on in life?
No.
No.
No, I
Okay.
never have. I know that sounds arrogant and cocky to some people because a lot do struggle with that. I have not, because I've been a fighter since I was born. I was not supposed to ever run, walk, or even talk. And I fought through all of that. So, because
Wow.
with rebellious syndrome, in some cases it does lead to mental retardation, and I was very
Mhm.
fortunate it did not in my case. But no, I've never felt like I could not go on. I mean, I just look at everything as not as an obstacle,
Yeah.
but a challenge to overcome, and knowing that when I overcome that challenge, I'm going to be a stronger person for it. So I don't see obstacles. I see challenges to take on.
Exactly. Well, I've had my set of challenges because me and Sailor were both born premature. We were both
Mhm.
born blind.
That's right.
We were both born 3 months premature, and we're not supposed to be here. Or at least I'm not. Because when I was a baby, my lungs collapsed.
Mine
Mhm.
did too.
Yep. And I think my brothers did too. But I think he was fortunate enough to have enough oxygen to where the retina attached itself,
Right.
because his eyes reversed as a baby. And also Sailor's twin sister, her eyes reversed as a baby as well. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. And there were times in life where I kind of felt like giving up a little, like on a task, but I never felt like giving up on life.
Right.
Yeah. But in the end, I was successful in the task, even maybe not fully 100% successful, because whenever I was in high school, I tried out for all state choir 3 times, and I
Mhm.
never made it. But I came very, very close my senior year of making all state. So yeah, I view that as a success. So yeah,
Because you never know what you can do until you try.
exactly. The key is continuing to always thrive for success. And
Right.
you're going to have failure, and that's part of success. But part of success is you keep going even when you fail.
Very true. Very true.
The true failure in life is not trying anymore. That's when you
Right.
really fail.
Exactly, yeah. Sorry, y'all. I'm having to plug. I realized the computer was unplugged, and I'm looking for a plug to plug it in so this battery won't die.
You know, it just amazes me how there are so many people in life who think they can't do something when in fact they can. Any
Okay, so Tyler, you said you were born premature. Your lungs were collapsed, and your brother's eyes reversed, right?
Yes, indeed. And, you know, I was just going to say, um, a lot of people in life think they can't do something, and so they just give up. But the true success, what separates true success from true failure, is a willingness to try or not.
Yes,
So
it does. Indeed.
if you go through life trying and you have a mindset of I can do this, even if you fail, you're still successful, even if you don't achieve exactly what you wanted.
As long as you're giving it your all, you know?
Exactly. But if
Yeah.
you give up and stop trying, you will truly fail.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because
Even the
my mom once told me that in college, you know, before I went, is, you know, if as long as you know you give it all, you're 100% and you're fine, you know. And I mean, I won't go into the details, but I had a lot of anxiety in college too, because I was going through some, you know, personal family stuff within my immediate family. And I know Tyler, you were kind of too, right?
a
But
little,
yeah,
a little bit,
yeah,
but I
but
didn't let that stop me from getting my degree.
yeah.
So, I just wanted to ask Chris, um, you, I heard, from Sailor that you suffered from a stroke. Is that right?
Yes, to
Yes.
lay people, it's a stroke. To the medical community, it's an incomplete spinal cord injury.
Okay.
Yes, let's go
Well,
further into that. Tell us about that.
All right. Well, as I mentioned, when I was born, I had a constricted aorta, and as an adult, I had to have surgery to correct the constricted aorta. They were going to do an ascending to descending aortic bypass. And during that surgery, something went wrong. We don't know what. They're not going to tell me because the hospital does not want to get sued. I survived an ischemic stroke to my spinal cord, and that robbed me of my ability to run, walk, or even stand without any assistance. And at the time, I was engaged when it happened, and it really rocked my world because I was going to get married in about 10 months, and this was not the happily ever after neither my fiance or myself had envisioned this happening. So it changed everything for me.
Wow.
well,
And so I see this happened like during your adult life.
Yes,
Yeah,
the ischemic stroke to my spinal cord happened in my 30s. Yes.
in your 30s. And you're in your, how old are you now? You're in your
Well, depending on when this drops, because my birthday's not that far away, I'm 56 on the day we're taping this.
56. Yeah, it's going to drop in about 4 weeks. So,
4 weeks. Okay, well, my birthday's actually in 4 weeks, so
oh, so maybe it could be a good birthday present.
yeah, December 17th. If anyone wants to send me gifts, my favorite color is green, and my favorite shape is rectangle, and I love pictures of presidents on them. So,
Oh,
all
great.
right.
so I like cash.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of stroke, Woodrow Wilson had one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I think it was right before he left. And you know, I didn't like him. I didn't like Roosevelt. I didn't like, but anyway.
So even though you had a spinal cord injury,
Yes.
because it says that in your bio, what did not allow you to stop and only just keep going? So, like, what happened during the spinal cord injury? Like, was your speech altered again, or what?
No, not really. There was a little bit of slurring and trouble finding the right word when I wanted to talk for a while, but that's pretty much in my past. But it did put me in a wheelchair, and I had to be in a rehabilitation hospital for about a month before I came home, and then I did outpatient therapy. But what really motivated me was when I came home and I started seeing the people who knew me before my stroke, my spinal cord injury, they would have a look and a tone in the voice of like shock and pity, and I hated that. So I decided one day I was sitting next to my wheelchair and I pointed at it and I said, it doesn't define me. And that meant that wheelchair is not going to define who I am or who I can be. So I made it my mission. At that time, I was selling on eBay and very active in the eBay community. I wanted people to mention that I'm a successful seller on eBay. I I do A, B, C, D, E, whatever else I'm doing. I was engaged. I eventually got married to the woman who I was engaged with during the stroke. And then the last thing they mentioned, oh, and by the way, he's disabled or he's in a wheelchair, if they even mentioned that at all. So that was my motivation to change my own internal narrative on having a spinal cord injury and changing others' perception of what somebody can do who is physically disabled. So I made that my mission, and my journey that I went through is in my self-published book. It doesn't define me. How I rebuilt my life after surviving an ischemic stroke to my spinal cord, and it's available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback.
Wow.
Awesome.
And what's the book called again?
It doesn't define me.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's in your bio. And is it
Yeah. Well, your
available?
listeners can't read that, so anyway, it's good to ask.
Is it available on Audible or just Amazon, just text?
It's available in printed format and in Kindle, but it's not on Audible at this point. And it's also available from my website. And if you order it through my website, I do personally autograph them. So
Oh,
the
awesome.
paperback, I don't autograph Kindles because people get really upset when you take a Sharpie and write on the Kindle screen. So I don't do that.
And so you went through rehabilitation, you
Yes.
recovered, you got married. What did life have in store after that?
It's been a wonderful 20 years of marriage with my wife, 19 and a half. It'll be 20 next year. So I like rounding up. It's a good thing. So it's been wonderful. I went on with my working on eBay. I was featured in a entrepreneur magazine special edition about eBay sellers. I went and taught a very successful eBay course at the same college who had expelled me. So that was kind of cool. That was amazing. They expelled me. I taught a successful class that was one of their more popular courses in the community education or continuing education department, depending on what you call it where you live. And I left eBay. I started writing a book, which had been published. I mentioned that a moment ago. And I've started my own business called #Define Yourself, where I want to empower others who are disabled to create successful lives that they love living. I have a podcast of my own. So I do a lot out there, and I do a lot of virtual speaking and presenting to empower not only the disabled community, everyone, because a disability is a challenge. And every one of us, whether we're disabled or not, has challenges in our lives. And those challenges as a choice, they can either define who we are, or we can overcome that challenge and define ourselves. And it's best if we do it ourselves and don't let anyone or anything define who you are. That's up to you.
Yeah, that's so good. So wow,
That's right.
you're an entrepreneur with eBay. Wow. And
Yes.
and tell me how's marriage been? One, is your wife disabled herself or no?
No, not until recently.
And-
She's been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, so that does fall under some of the ADA umbrellas. But and she's doing fine. She's responding well at this point to her medication, but she was diagnosed with that April of 2021, and up until that point, I mean, we have a good marriage and all, and she would take care of me and help me with a lot of my issues.
That's good.
I am now taking care of her. I've learned how to cook. I'm a pretty good cook now. We haven't burnt down the house, so that's a good
That's
thing.
good.
And we no longer know when dinner's ready by the smoke detector going off. That used to be the sign that food was ready. So I've gotten better at cooking. I accompany her to every single doctor appointment that she has and every single test or procedure that she goes through. I'm right there by her side. That's one of the benefits I have being self-employed. I can set my own hours.
That's right. Self-employment. You can work for yourself because that's what we're hoping to do. And Tyler, tell Chris about your family struggles with cancer. In fact, yesterday was a very special day for you. So you have the floor, sir.
Yeah. 2 years ago yesterday, my mom passed away from breast cancer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. She had a long, long battle. She ended up getting pneumonia toward the end of her life. Of course, she had pneumonia before that too, earlier in the year of 2020. And she overcame it for a little bit. And then it came, I guess the cancer just spread to the point where it, dried up her blood, caused, sepsis, septic shock, because
Right.
her blood pressure was way low and stuff. And, what's interesting is in 2016, she was diagnosed with stage 3.
Yeah.
It went into remission. It came back in 3 different places again in 2018, 2019. And then she beat that, and then it came back in her brain in 2020. And then she beat that, and then, she finally succumbed to it. And I think that it was just due to, a lot of chemo that just damaged her immune system to the point where it couldn't fight the pneumonia anymore.
Yeah,
And I think that
happens.
cancer may have also played a role too.
Yeah.
But she told us that she didn't want us grieving like she did when her mom died of lung cancer, because whenever her mom died, she was just a total wreck.
Right.
She actually got pneumonia because of it. Like, she grieved so much that she had pneumonia in the 90s. This was in 1997. And what's interesting, we celebrated her funeral exactly 23 years after her mom died.
Wow.
It happened to be that exact date, 23 years later. So
wow.
And me and him, we are going to do a special show about her again.
And your mom's favorite song is what? Alone by Holland, right?
Yes, indeed.
And so
that's the song.
I know you mentioned also, Chris, that you're a true Christian.
Yes.
Can you attest your God has helped you in your walk of life, right?
My favorite Bible verse is, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Philippians, I want to say 4:13, maybe 4:12. But I always get that mixed up because you reverse 4:13, that 314, that's the St. Louis area code where I'm from. That's why I do that. So, and I believe that is my favorite verse. And my other one is, I don't know where it is in the Bible off the top of my head, but I heard it from a Christian gospel singer and comedian, Mark Lowry. It came to pass, and that's true. Nothing in our life comes to stay, and we should enjoy it. He was doing a stand-up routine. He was sharing with the audience. If you're young, 18-year-olds, and you're jogging, so you got muscles everywhere, including your ears, enjoy them. They will pass. And if you're old and you have arthritis, enjoy it. That arthritis will pass, or you will pass, because nothing is here to stay. And those things that I know about and I believe in, I'm enjoying my limited mobility, because it's going to pass. I'm going to be able to be in a place where I don't have that issue. Am I in a hurry to get there? No.
And it's
So
the
don't
same,
worry about a suicide watch on me, but I know it's coming.
and it's the same for us, Tyler, right? I mean, no, we're happy. We're fine if we don't see, but we know it's temporary, right?
Exactly.
And so,
yeah, one day blindness will no longer exist in heaven.
Yep.
It'll be amazing. I really, really liked the band Creed. I like the song "Can You Take Me Higher?" With Arms Wide Open. That's another good one. Those are the top 2 songs that really stood out to me. And then 6 Feet from the Edge. You know what I mean? All these songs from Creed. I don't know if you were a fan of Creed, but I certainly was.
I am, yeah.
I love Creed.
Yeah.
And I loved NSYNC. I loved, obviously NSYNC's not a Christian band, but yeah.
Well,
but Creed was.
Yeah, I love 80s music, and I love
I do too.
Weird Al Yankovic. I'm a big fan of Weird Al.
Oh, he's so good.
But one of my favorite artists in the Christian genre is Matthew West.
Oh, he's good.
Big fan of his. Day one, which is true. Every day is day one of the rest of your life, and you can make a change at that point and do something. I mean, I love the message in that song, the one that he put in there. And I also like the fact that if you have a disability or challenge, don't just sit there and complain about it. Do something about it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
you go. That's the way to do it. Don't just
talk.
Then,
This is now. I think he did that as well.
Yeah.
They go in the
Exactly.
past.
Don't just talk, act, you know.
Yeah.
You know, our last, I mean, I know this is political, but our last president would always say, they're no talk, they're all
Yeah.
talk, no action.
Donald Trump.
I love how he says it. Like
And
they're all talk, no action.
yeah. And I don't know about you, Chris. We won't get too deep into this because this is not what the podcast is for. But I'm excited for him to run again in 2020.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I want him, you know, as odd as it may seem, I truly believe that God has called him into the arena of service. And yes, he's bamboostic or whatever you want to call that. He's very, just seems arrogant. He seems braggadocious a lot. But you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't care. I really
That's-
don't. I mean, as long as they're upholding our laws, Constitution, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
And as long as they don't necessarily have to be a Christian, but as long as they uphold the Christian ethic, what we were founded on, great.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Obviously, I'm going to agree to disagree on stuff, but yeah. But anyway, so yeah.
So so you're still in wheelchair today, right?
No, I can walk around using a rollator.
So like a cane, kind of.
No, a rollator is a walker with 4 wheels.
Oh, it's a walk. Oh, I see. It's a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a walker is one that has 2 wheels in the front and has this, like, and most people put a tennis ball in the back 2 poles, but a rollator is technically a walker with 4 wheels. And I taught myself how to do that. When my insurance company said, you're not progressing anymore in physical therapy, I said, you guys want to give up on me. That's your choice. I'm not giving up on myself. And I think it's like 5, 6, 7 years after my last PT session, outpatient, I was at a Target store and I wanted to ride those cool scooters they have in the store. So we pulled into the parking lot and there's no sense of my wife unloading my wheelchair, me getting in it, go in the store. She takes the wheelchair back, we shop, and then she brings it back for me and we go back to the car. So I asked her, bring over that Target cart. She brought it over and I grabbed the front of it, and it was not a pretty sight and it was hard, but I pushed that cart in and got on a scooter. And because I did that, I kept doing that and I taught myself how to use a walker. Now I'm using a rollator to get around. And in certain distances in my house, it's designed where I just, grab onto the wall and I swing around the house like Tarzan, but sometimes it looks like George of the Jungle.
Wow. And I mean, your wife has really cared for you,
Yes, she
even
has.
though you've had challenges. Now, where did y'all meet? Because that gives us hope for us. We haven't found anybody yet, and
Oh, that's a great
we're
story.
afraid
You're
they're
going to
not
love
gonna.
this one.
We're afraid they're just not gonna care. They just
That
don't.
is that was my concern when I was dating. When I was dating, I had a white cane because of my vision. I mean, I probably should have one now, but they don't make a white cane attachment for a rollator, so I do my best.
Yeah.
So I was afraid with this white cane and my disability, girls are not going to be interested in me, and it was discouraging. But I wanted to have a marriage. I wanted to have a spouse to spend my life with, and I did get a lot of rejections, and they did hurt, but my wife, her name is Kimberly, did not care about my visual disability. She stood beside me, and the key thing is this: I did not know it at the time. We started dating in 2000, and we got engaged in 2002, and I had my stroke that year. I believe because of that cane, God put in my life the right woman who would be by me when I had my ischemic stroke to my spinal cord. Because unfortunately, a lot of relationships, whether you're dating, engaged, or married, if something tragic happens to one of the people, like me, I lost the
Yeah.
ability to run, walk, or even stand. I had to have help getting dressed, feeding myself for a while. The other person said, you know what? This is what I signed up for. I'm out of here. I never had that fear because that white cane put into my life the woman that's going to be strong enough to be with me through thick and thin. And it's been
Wow.
true. So don't be afraid of your disability. Yes, it's going to turn
No.
away some people, but those are the people you do not want or need in your life. It's going to
That's
help you find the person that you need in your life that God wants you to have.
Yeah. Awesome. And yeah, Kimberly has been there by your side. Now, of course, you're visually impaired. Do you use JAWS or NVDA or any of those programs?
No, 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 I probably should. I do use screen enlargers on the computer screen now, but when I was a kid, and this was way before 88, we had the old rotary dial phones. That tells you it's way before 88. So for those that are not familiar, it's a big black item that you put your finger in a hole and you dial the numbers on it. It's kind of cool. It's you can find them in museums or antiques, or just Google the form rotary the phrase rotary dial phone. You see one. And the numbers on them are kind of small. So my parents got me this cardboard cutout that went around it and put big numbers in the phone. I was like in second grade, third grade, maybe first, and I took that overlay off and threw it away. And my parents said, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "The world is not going to adapt to me. I must adapt to it." So that's one of
Yeah.
the things I've done my entire life. Yes, I probably could be using JAWS. It probably would help me some, but I like to do it as much as I can for as long as I can. As long as I'm blessed with sight that I can use, I'm going to use it. But I know that there's alternatives out there, and I'm glad that they are, because there are people who generally benefit from it, and I think it's great, and we need more of that, and we need prices of those to come down so everyone can afford that. It should be standard
Oh,
on computers, by the way.
yeah, and
That's my own
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, here's the thing. There is a built-in screen reader for Windows called Narrator, which has
Right.
helped. And it has improved vastly. It has improved better, like improved more. Before, whenever I used Narrator, it really was not user-friendly at first. But as Windows updated and stuff, it was user-friendly. And also, every single modern iPhone that we have now has VoiceOver built into it, which is a screen reader built into the phone. And so do Macs. So basically, Windows computers already have a screen reader attached, built into them. And so do Macs, and so do phones. Even the Androids are getting better. So yeah,
yeah.
it's
Um,
it's really amazing how technology out of the box is already accessible to a point, especially the iPhone. I am impressed at what
oh, me
Apple has
too.
done.
And
I am just amazed.
I see what you told me about your parents, how they like dealt with you, like growing up as far as using technology. My parents like did very similar, like because I do have a little bit of vision. Um, they didn't have me read Braille as much as I should have, and instead they like had me focus more reading print, and because I can read print if it's large, but at the same time it's just not efficient with the vision I have, because my eyes just get too tired. So I wish I wish I would have used Braille more younger and JAWS, but I mean I do now, which is
Right.
awesome. But there's also a screen reader out there called NVDA, and Tyler, I can't really joke about you trash
Yeah.
NVDA.
Yeah, you like to joke about that,
I'm
but
actually using it now.
I'm actually quite impressed with NVIDIA. And in my opinion, it's better than JAWS, because JAWS had a tendency to freeze the computer a lot, whereas NVDA, you don't have that problem. And I think it's due to the software. What do you call that?
The GUI.
The software load onto the computer itself that's causing it to freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that's that. So yeah, Chris, where do you live now?
I live in Missouri,
Missouri,
Southwest corner, near
like
Joplin, Missouri, near
near Joplin?
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't know if you've heard of Camp Barnabas. It's a Christian camp. It's
No,
it's in the neck of your woods. I went there when I was 17, 18. I volunteered there. It's a Christian camp for people with disabilities, and they they never say no. It's hard for them to say no. They'll take anybody who has a disability, special needs. They have all sorts of different terms, and they teach the word of God. It's just wonderful. It's great.
Have you been there before, Sailor?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. When I was
How did
17, 18, I went there.
Oh, that's really awesome. How'd
Yeah.
you hear about that or whatever? Through your church?
No, on a TV show called Extreme Makeover.
I think I've heard of that show.
yeah, they actually redid the entire campsite there, and it's awesome. It's great. But yeah, I live in Houston, Texas, but of course I've been in Puerto Vallarta at this podcast camp. It's been awesome, and yeah, I go home tomorrow in time for Thanksgiving.
I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving, seeing my aunt, my grandma, who, by the way, she had cancer twice, but it was like real small. It wasn't like super bad or anything. She recently had lung cancer cut out of her, but it was so small they all they had to do is just cut it out, and then she underwent some chemo, and I think she's going to have that for a few sessions, and then she should be done.
Wow.
But they want to make sure that the cancer doesn't come back or doesn't grow again. That's why they're doing it.
Wow. And
So I'll get to see her Thursday. My
it's
grandma.
good. But so I know yeah, Tyler, you and I, we have another podcast coming up in 20 minutes, so we'll be kind of short on time. We have to wrap things up, especially after the inconvenience for the power outlets. I mean, why would someone move that plug in the studio? Come on, it's inconvenient, you know.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but yeah,
we're back. We're back.
but we're good. My computer's charging; it's not gonna die, which is good. But so before we wrap up, Chris, do you have anything else to share? If not, we'll move to wrap up. So it's all you.
Let's see, anything else I'd like to share? Christmas is coming. Don't forget to do your Christmas shopping. But most importantly, when Christmas is here, don't forget the real reason for the season is not to max out your credit cards. Just think about that.
To celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
That's
my
right.
birthday's 8 days before that, so I'm the opening act.
Yeah.
That's the way. December 17th, so I'm the opening act. I'm the warm-up act before the big day.
Yeah, you'll be 56, right? Yeah.
No, I'll be 57.
57.
I'm 56 now.
57.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. So I can be a bottle of ketchup.
Yeah.
Heinz 57.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah.
well, awesome. And well, so if nothing else, before we close out, the customary ending I like to ask is, what advice would you get? No, Tyler, I've said it. You ask it now. I've said it lately. Now you ask
Okay.
it.
So what advice would you give to someone who just doesn't seem like there's hope at all? Like they just want to give up?
Well, first of all, don't give up. There's always a way out. There's always a way or something you can do about your situation. You may have to face some harsh realities and take some responsibility for your lot in life. Because a lot of people, when they're in a difficult situation, may want to blame others. And there may be some blame in others, but there's also some that can be in your own. For example, my ischemic stroke to my spinal cord, I believe it had to do with something with the anesthesiologist. We got the medical reports back, and there were some things that were kind of questionable in it. Now, I could sit here and blame him, but how would that help me? It won't, because it's going to distract me away from where I want to be. And I have to ask myself this. The day before the surgery, I did get to meet the anesthesiologist, and he was very condescending and rude, and I had a bad feeling about him. And I should have, what would have happened if I would have called my surgeon and said, I don't like this guy, I want a different anesthesiologist. So I accept that responsibility that maybe I could have done something to prevent this.
Yeah.
But not blame anyone. But more importantly, I also remember that there's a reason for everything happening in our life. God gives his toughest challenges to the people he knows who can handle it with him by his side, by their side. It's a tongue twister, trust me, it is. I just proved that. So there's a reason for it to happen, and if he brought you to it, he can bring you through it. So, don't give up hope. God is going to be there with you. Just reach out to him. He's not in the phone book. It's a direct dial by through prayer. It's no app required. No no worry about the battery in your cell phone dying or on your laptop dying, which we've had happen here today. So,
Yeah.
just reach out and talk to
Yeah.
him. He's there, he's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no operator standing by. You don't have to go through a security system or, his people. You get direct connection to him through Christ. So reach out to him.
Exactly. So, real quick, so you said the anesthesia. I guess since the anesthesiologist, since you
Right.
blame him, was it the anesthesia itself that caused your spinal cord injury?
No, I'm not going to say what caused it because I don't know for sure. But I do believe that there was some medicine given to me when my blood pressure dropped a little bit that may have spiked it up and sent something into my spine to cause the problem. I'm not a doctor. I do not want to make accusations, but I just feel looking at that record, I think other things may have contributed to it too. Because when I go through the record, my birthday and age changed a couple of times during the surgery. And where I lived at the time, there is another person who had my name that also has cardiac issues. I accidentally ran into him in an outpatient procedure for people who had cardiac issues. I mean, that is spooky. And I wonder if the records got crossed. I don't know for sure. But the point is, I was uneasy with the anesthesiologist. And maybe he was not the best. He was cocky. He was arrogant. He was condescending. And what would have happened if I would have called and said, I don't like this guy. Let's get a different anesthesiologist. Maybe I didn't have my stroke. But because I had my stroke, I'm able to be on podcasts like this and reach people and empower others. So it's been a blessing.
And there's no need to go back. You can't change the past. Only look to the future. You
can't change the past. You can only hope to influence the future for the better.
Yeah,
even though you can't change the past, you can learn from it.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right. All right.
All right.
Well,
it was good having you here today.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
It was.
You are very welcome.
So yeah. I'll let you know when the episode drops. Also, I want to not only just a Potapalooza. I know this Thursday's Thanksgiving. I don't know if I'm sure you're gonna be busy, but if you can't this Thursday, it's fine. But every Thursday, Kimberly Crow, she is one of my best friends now. She is here with me on this trip. She hosts what's called Speakers Playhouse. # the best 90 minutes of your life, where you can get on Zoom and speak and tell people about your talk title. Woohoo! It's great.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. And Chris, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. And people can connect with me at my website, thechrismitchell.com, TheChrismitchell.com. And I bet these wonderful people, if I ask them real nicely, will put that in the show notes. Won't you guys?
Sure, you definitely. Yeah.
And you know what we can do?
What?
You know what we can do? We can put it in. We can put the link in there in the show, like either on our Real Variety Radio page or this one or both.
That's right.
All
right.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, also thanks for giving your contact information. And of course, I do have the headshots and all that, so it's awesome, man. It's all good. But thanks for being on the show. Give it up for Chris Mitchell, everybody, on Hope Without Sight.
It's been an honor to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. We hope you feel renewed, inspired, and encouraged, like you can just carry on and conquer the world.
Please hit the subscribe button on all platforms and tell your friends and family to do the same.
Blessings to all.